trying to say that I'm blind. I'm not an idiot. Okay. Although the jury is out. The next person who's coming up came for the first time last month, and she reached out to me through Instagram. And she was great, and she's back again. This is Rose.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, George. I'm going to, basically, I had written a whole bunch of things. The reason why I fell in love with this place, actually, it inspired me. When I first came here, it was a few months ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, the opportunity to tell stories or things you've written and do that live with others and make an impact, because to me, stories have made such an impact on my life. And I feel I retain information better by stories. Like, I love to learn, and George's story actually reminded me of my childhood. Actually, I loved books when I was a kid because I could use my imagination. Like, I would see a red brick house, and your idea of a red brick house might be different. So that's what I loved about reading. It gave me a chance to use my imagination. So everything I'm doing tonight is spontaneous, and so I really thought about it as an important story that was a part of my journey. I've always been a deep introspective type of person. My dad had a whole bunch of different type of books. My mom used to put me for naps, and I would actually, she needed the nap. I was actually up, and we had a little bookcase in the back, and I'd be reading, and I'd be esoteric, lots of different esoteric stuff. I was always into the unseen stuff. Ever since I was a kid, I was a deep introspective type of person. Anyways, years later, I would eventually work at a casino. And I went through the biggest part of my growth at a casino, being a cocktail server on the gaming floor. And we had complimentary, I opened Casino Niagara. It was a pretty busy place. It was like standing room only. The trays were heavy. It was, thank God I was doing my spiritual work and moving like that, because I really wanted to be a dealer. And I'll tell you right now, I would have been abused so badly at the time, so I was just so grateful. I was a cocktail server on the gaming floor. So there's a certain point in my spiritual journey, I'm like, growing so much exponentially, and my biggest thing is I'm walking through sections and asking people if they want to, would you like a complimentary coffee, juice, pop, bottled water, iced tea, hot chocolate? Really deep stuff, right? So I end up saying to my teacher, I'm like, this is years later, and I'm growing, and I share some of those stuff with my coworkers, but I feel like, how can I make an impact? Like, this doesn't feel like I'm really making an impact. And she said to me, how do you not know you're the only light in that place? And I said, what? She said, how do you not know you're the only light in that place? Well, the truth of the matter is, there's a little bit of a background about that. Robin Williams, actually, I loved Robin Williams, and he was telling the story about his son, about how he kind of imagined his son being like the president, or, do you want fries with that? And I kind of saw my job more like that. Do you want fries with that? So when she said that to me, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start looking at it that way. So I started seeing everywhere I went, my light was needed, and I started my daily practice, and I studied a gentleman by the name of David Hawkins. He was a psychiatrist, and he actually, at the age of 51, he had so many illnesses, he had to carry a 3x5 cart to remind himself of what he could eat. And he realized he manifested all that by what he held in mind. He was so good at illness, he became all the illnesses he studied about. So he eventually did a thing called A Course in Miracles, and he started, I didn't expect to go in this direction, but he started undoing all those thoughts. And as he did, all of his illnesses started to fall away. But one of the things that really inspired me about him was that he said that the reason why people prayed over food was it actually made it 10 times better for you. So I made a conscious decision, I'm going to set my attention to anything I come in contact with is blessed as I move throughout the day, because I'm driving back and forth, commuting back and forth, and from Hamilton to Niagara Falls and stuff like that. And I'm seeing that wherever I'm needed, my light is, right? Offering that out in some way with a whole bunch of other things that I offered. And I remember I had been doing it for quite some time, and I really didn't know if it was making a difference. It made me feel good. I had one teacher tell me I didn't have a right to impose my light, so I only offered it to anyone who wanted it. I just said, I offered whoever wants it, who doesn't want it, just pass right by. So years later, I'm like doing a course teachings, and I'm making coffee. Like I'm serving, and there's this lady, she orders a coffee from me. She's like, I'd like one of your double doubles. She goes, I love your coffee. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I walk back to the bar, and I'm making the coffee. Like, we couldn't drink on the gaming floor. Like, we could drink water, that's it. So I wasn't even doing sugar at the time, so I didn't even know if, like, I must make really good coffee double doubles. Like, we were pouring the sugar. Anyway, so I come back to her, and she says, no, you don't understand. I've been coming to this casino since it opened, and I really like to drink coffee when I gamble. But the coffee in your casino makes sores in my mouth. She said, but not your coffee. So my intention was to bless everything I came in contact with. So how do you not know you're the only light where you are? How do you not know you're making an impact where you are? I'm just asking. I didn't anticipate saying that. So years later, I would be in a group, and there was a gentleman that was studying Reiki. And he was like all excited about it. He's like, oh, I can't wait to make a real impact. And I said, well, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm a graphic artist. And I said, okay, so does your graphics go on the internet? He's like, yeah. I said, well, you realize your light goes into all those graphics, right? So how do you not know you're the only light in this place? Anyways, thank you for